A pleasant day, everyone, especially to you, Mr. Mark Christian Mamao. Good day. On behalf of my groupmates, we would like to welcome you all today. I am Shalami Abibas and I am looking forward to talking with you today about the topic, the social science.
The learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to define the social science and its distinction, determine the importance of it, and understand the nature and historical background of social science.
So, what comes in your head when you hear the word social science? Today, we would like to share with you our knowledge. Social science is the study of people as individuals, communities, and societies, their behaviors and interactions with each other, and their built, technological, and natural environments. It has generally been regarded as the category of science that accommodates solely and the disciplines which the study of man in relation to his social environment for the purpose of formulating laws, generalizations, and more importantly, to make predictions on the future actions of man. Social science includes many different areas of study, such as how people they organize and govern themselves, and broker power and international relations, how wealth is generated, economics develop, and economic futures are modeled, how business works, and what a suitable future means, the ways in which populations are changing, in issues of unemployment, deprivation, inequality, and how the social, cultural, and economic dynamics vary in different places with different outcomes. Well, that was a brief introduction on this topic. To continue this topic, let me call on Miss Kulima, please.
Thank you, Miss Abibas, and good morning, everyone. Now let's dig deeper to our next topic, which is the distinction of social science. So, social science is the inference of studies to resolve issues within a society which may eventually lead to the development of the society as a whole. Social studies is the study of all stages of societies. So, it is the integrated study of social science and humanities to promote effective citizenry. Social studies are typically for students to help them understand how to be effective citizens of society. Social sciences are part of a higher studies curriculum. The social sciences are as diverse as humankind's passions, but they all have a fascination with people and groups of people. Humans have used a variety of systems to structure their societies since the beginning of written history, including political, religious, economic, and social ones. The next reporter is Miss Kabutbod, and she will going to discuss about the science of geography and the importance of social science. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Now let's dig deeper to our next discussion. The science of geography. Geography as social science studies the world, the studies of places, and the relationship between people and their environments. Geography explores both the physical properties of Earth's surface and the human society spread across it. Its main strands are physical geography, human geography, and environmental geography. Physical, human, and environmental of geography. Physical geography. It encompasses the study of the land, ocean, seasons, climate, and atmosphere, and earth soil. It looks at how these elements change and have changed over time. the spatial relationship they have with shaping current environments. Human geography, the study of interrelationships between people, place, and environment, and how these vary spatially and temporally across and between locations. Environmental geography describe the analyze and explain the arrangements of Earth's physical features including atmospheric, terrestrial, and marine components and how they work together. Emphasize is placed on how this force influence humans and how humans may be altering the natural environment. Why is social science important? The social sciences are important because they help people understand how to analyze not only their own behavior but also the behavior or motivations of their peers. The social science also give us a better understanding of how to create more inclusive and effective institutions. In addition, it tells us about the worlds beyond our immediate experience and can help explain how our own society works from the cause of unemployment or what economics grow to how and why people vote or what makes people happy.
Nature of social science. The real nature of this discipline can be well understood by analyzing the above definitions. Number 1. A unique combination of various disciplines. Number 2. A study of human relationships. Number 3. A study of man's development through ages. Number 4. A realistic course of study. Number 5. It forms an important part of the core curriculum. Number 6. It includes commitment to action. Number 7. It aims at preparing the learner for wholesome social living. Historical background of social science. The origins of social science can be traced back to the ancient Greeks. The lives they led, as well as their early studies into human nature, the state, and mortality, helped to shape Western civilization. The political and social climate in ancient India, Rome, and Greece encouraged the development of intellectual pursuits. Aristotle, the father of political science, and Herodotus, the father of history, are two well-known intellectuals from this era. Throughout the 17th and 18th centuries, the Age of Renaissance and Enlightenment, also known as the Age of Reason, continued the tradition of reasoning inaugurated by Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Social sciences came forth from the moral philosophy of the time and was influenced by the age of revolutions, such as the Industrial Revolution and French Revolution. The intellectual atmosphere of the time influenced the growth of social sciences. Understanding the social sciences. Social science as a field of study is separate from the natural sciences, which cover topics such as physics, biology, and chemistry. Social science examines the relationship between individuals and societies, as well as the development and operation of societies, rather than studying the physical world. These academic disciplines rely more heavily on interpretation and qualitative research methodologies. Human beings live in a society with other humans. The term society refers to the system of interdependent relationships among human beings. A society can be a city, village, migrant group, country, or other organized groups of people.
Both fire and ice, we are a perfect mix of sugar and spice. I am Mario B. Basco Jr. and together with my colleagues in discussing the 10 branches of social sciences and its relationships. So, learning objectives. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to recognize and better understand the 10 different branches of social sciences, determine their respective functions and fundamentals, differentiate its branches, and ascertain its relationships and importance on discovering significant knowledge. So before we proceed to our main topic, I would like to discuss to you all about who created social sciences and how it was done. So, Who is the father of social science? David Emile Durkheim is considered the father of social sciences or sociology for their remarkable works in laying a foundation for practical social research. Social science is the branch of science devoted to studying human sciences and relationships among individuals within those societies. So the main contributions of David Emile Durkheim is the glue that binds societies together. This glue is common institutions, cultural norms, shared experiences, and perspectives to make society works and allow people to come together to work for common good. Durkheim also developed a theory named solidarity, which aims consciousness, shared forms of thinking that emphasizes communality in any society and which serves to remind us to shared interests and values. And there are lots of works of David Emile Durkheim, but we are just familiarizing its works he done in several parts, and it relates to the our topics, the branches, the 10 branches of social science that make it relevant to our topic today. So next is who named social science. Auguste Comte used the term science social rather, to describe the field. Taken from the ideas of Charles Fourier, Comte also referred to the field as social physics. Following this period, 5 paths of development sprang forth in the social sciences, influenced by Comte in other fields. So, the study of social science is the discipline that attempts to understand the forces outside us that shapes the lives, interests, and personalities. So, Auguste Comte was one of the founders of sociology, or what we call social science. Coined the term sociology, Comte believes that sociology could unite all sciences and improve society, and Comte was a positivist who argued that sociology must have a scientific base and be objectives. Comte theorized a 3-stage development of society. Number 1 is the theoretical stage. Number 2 is the metaphysical stage, and lastly, the positive stage. And that is more a conflict on discovering more about who named social science, who is the father of social science, because it is really important to determine to each aspect that we can recalibrate the learnings or the knowledge that we gain on each aspect, or discovering social science of any situation that we can learn its progress throughout their works in laying its usage in determining their works, and how it's really important to us in your generation, especially in our society, that we could learn something that can lead us to more knowledgeable, and to take it as an advantage that we have more learnings to achieve.
I'm Sheena Maika and Anob, and I'm discussing the relationship of its branches in social science. Social science is a broad field to study that seeks to understand human behavior, interaction, and relationship within society. It encompasses a wide range of disciplines that analyze different aspects of social life from the individual to the group level. Sociology, anthropology, and psychology often collaborate to better understand social behavior and interaction, while economics, political science, and criminology may intersect with studying crime and the criminal justice system. Furthermore, geography, history, and archaeology may provide important context for understanding social phenomena such as how geography and resources have influenced the development of societies or how historical events have shaped current social structures and beliefs. Sociology, anthropology, and psychology ay nagtutulungan upang mas maunawaan natin ang panipunang pag-uugali at pakikipag-ugnayan, habang ang economics, political science at criminology ay nagtutulungan kapag sistema na ng hustisya ang pinag-uusapan. Sa kabilang banda, geography, history, and archaeology ay nagbibigay ng mahalagang konteksto para sa pag-unawa sa mga social phenomena tulad ng kung paano maimpluwensyahan ang geografiya. What are the branches of social science? The most important branches of social science are anthropology, economics, politics, psychology, and geography. It delves deeper into science and humankind and society and explores many branches such as law, political science, history, linguistics, and sociology.
Good day, everyone. And before I continue to discuss this topic, let me introduce myself. I am Nika May Badana, and this time we will discuss the 10 branches of social sciences. These are the 10 branches of social sciences. First is anthropology. So, anthropology is one of the significant academic branches of social science. Anthropology encompasses the study of different aspects of the human condition and delves deep into our society's cultural moorings and how over the years culture has shaped human behavior. The primary purpose of this subject is to come to terms with our origin and comprehend what makes each of us a different being. Anthropology is the study of humanity with the goal of understanding our evolutionary origins, our distinctiveness as a species, and the great diversity in our forms of social existence across the world and through time. The focus of anthropology is on understanding both our shared humanity and diversity, and engaging with diverse ways of being in the world. So, anthropology is divided into three subfields: sociocultural, biological, and archaeology. Second is history. There is nothing more complex and broader for research than the study of history. It straddles different territories of time and explores every aspect of it, trying to reconstruct the past for understanding the present through various resources available. While exploring the branches of social sciences, history is an appealing one for those inclined towards the study of renowned historical events, and as you reach higher levels of study, you'll be presented with opportunities to specialize in your own area of interest. You'll learn different methodologies, applications, and instruments that you can use to extract historical information and make your own interpretations accordingly. You can work as an independent historian and make perspectives about the past of a region by critically sifting through the information. That's all. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm John Axel J. Gagbo, In this discussion, we will tackle about archaeology, sociology, and political science. But before I proceed, allow me to give you some insights about it. Archaeology, sociology, and political science are three of those branches of social science. And now, let's determine each one of them. Archaeology encompasses the study of material culture, the remains of past human life, and associated activities from the specific past by collecting its residual remains found during the excavation process, and involves a subsequent analysis of these recent or prehistoric material. So, archaeology studies human history and prehistory through excavation of sites and analysis of artifacts and other physical remains, mainly graves, tools, and any other object that lives from the past. Through this branch of science, we're able to define our grassroots and gain something significant about our earliest human ancestors. This helps us immense from our culture and benefits us in the preservation of our history and traditions. Archaeology provides us wider understanding and constructing the culture history and reconstructing our past lifeways and the interpretation of culture change over time.
Good day everyone, I'm Claire Ann A. Badaos and I will be continue to discuss the 10 branches of social science. Economics. Economics emphasizes understanding the way people spend and utilize their available resources to satisfy the increasing demands. Economics is all about the distribution, production, and consumption of resources. So economics is classified as a social science because it employs scientific methods to develop theories that can help explain the behavior of individuals, group, and organization. Economic attempts to explain economic behavior that occurs when scarce resources are exchanged. Law. It presents you with a chance to fat home how the legal system of the country works and its importance as a major institution. Out of all branches of social science, this one focuses on the laws that govern a country, its main provision and section, and how the Constitution guarantees the enforcement of the law in a country. Law is concerned with the control and regulation of human conduct and promulgation of rules to guide behavior in socially beneficial ways.
Geography. While the basic meaning of geography is often associated with maps, its scope lies beyond that. Geography is one of the fundamental branches of social sciences as it studies lands, their silent features, cultural phenomena that impact the earth along with the human population and the relationship between the study of land and the human population. Geography helps us to explore and understand space and place, recognizing that great differences in cultures, political system, economies, landscape, and environmental across the world, and exploring the links between them. Linguistics, as the branches of social sciences, analyze the relationship of human beings with society. Linguistics is an indispensable area of study amongst these disciplines as it peruses upon how a language is formed, its main origins, as well as evolution. It explores the roots of every language, be it official ones or local dialects and indigenous languages, and understand their role in defining the culture and traditions of a specific society. Linguistics is needed in English language teaching because it helps the teachers explain the English components and structures to the students. Every language has a system or linguistic rules that can be learned in terms of phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics.
Sociology. Sociology concerned with the study of society in an individualistic as well as structural context. Sociology is somewhat similar of a specialization to social science, but skims down to its essential focus on different societies, the origins and evolution since ancient times. Sociology, labeled as one of the popular branches of social science, it covers societal construct like religion, class, caste, as well as social mobility. So this merely means that sociology focuses more on societal development, structure, and functioning of a human society, as well as the vast nature of social problems. This social science branch provides critical insights and perspectives to the solution of social problems. Sociology seeks to understand the social changes, causes, and consequences of human behavior and society. Sociology emphasizes the importance of social inequality for understanding both society and individual. This branch of social science plays an integral part on understanding the diversity of social behavior and interaction. Political science. As a human civilization discerned rule of government and a smooth functioning of every society, political science emerged as a significant field of study focusing on different systems of governance as well as political ideas and discourse. So this really means that political science has a broad nature which certainly keeps its focus to every facets of governance, particularly understanding political ideas, ideologies, policies, laws, strategy, and etc. It explores how individuals exercise power in a setting to promote cooperation. These areas of study is even more prominent in a contemporary era where every country has its own style of governance. And political science will help you gain an essential perspectives of political governance in local, national, and international level. So political science deals the study of political values and state. It insinuates as well that every country has its own measure or has their own political concept. It is so important for us to pay heed in the major rules portrayed by political science. We could educate the public about their political rights and shapes them into well-informed individual that could help promote countries' progress at a global level.
Good day everyone, my name is Queenie Bonnie and today I am going to tackle about psychology. Another vast area of study among the branches of social science. Psychology delves deeper into the science of mind and human behavior. So psychology is also a branch of social science. It is a specific study of how people behave, think, and feel. It is a unique amalgam of both theory and experiment and is an intriguing discipline for those inclined towards the intricate human mind and its multifarious aspect. So two men is working in the 19th century are generally credited as being the founders of psychology as a science and academic discipline that was distinct from philosophy. Their names were Wilhelm Wundt and William James. Psychology relies on scientific methods. Psychology relies on scientific methods. Psychologists are able to provide answers that help solve real-world problems. It relies on scientific methods to investigate questions and arrive at conclusions. Here are numerous branches of psychology itself, ranging from child psychology to social psychology, industrial psychology, depression counseling, psychotherapy, and much more. So child psychology, it is the study of children's behavior, and mentality is the main focus of child psychology. Children's psychology focuses on their physical, mental, emotional, and social development. Child psychology is one of the most complex branches of psychology. In industrial psychology, it applies certain psychological principles to a sector and is classified as applied psychology. It aims mainly at improving the well-being of an organization. So depression counseling. By counseling, it is meant by giving an advice of recommending something. It addresses the normal problems people faces, such as taking advice on career choices. So those are some examples of branches of psychology. Successfully predicting behavior is important to the last. In conclusion, the most important goal in psychology is to control or change one's behavior. Thank you.
What is sociological inquiry? It is a methodical examination of the motivation and actions of people within a group. It focuses on how factors like family, church, school, community, and government affect the social world as whole. So from the word itself, sociological inquiry, muna siya ang act of asking information concerning the development, structure, and functioning of human society. So, mura ni siya ganing research about sa ato ang palibot. So, methodical analysis of the inspiration and behavior of individuals within a group. So, muna siya ang pagpanguhag information about sa mga katawan sa isa ka grupo and so, kung sa ba ilang mga pamatasan dito, kung sa ba ilahang mga ilahang culture. So, muna siya ang pasabot sa sociological inquiry.
Participatory in social science refers to different mechanisms for the public to express opinions and ideally exert influence regarding political, economic, management, or other decisions. So, participatory decision-making can take place along any realm of human social activity, including economic participatory, political participatory, democracy or polity, participatory management, cultural polyculturalism, and feminism. This study can help us to know our social differences, including differences in social behavior, and invites us to look at our familiar surroundings in a fresh way. And it encourages us to take a new look at the world we have always taken for granted, to examine our social environment. So, what are the main role of the scientist? Studies or works in the field of as sociologist researchers or uses existing research on society, social relationships, and behaviors. They can use their research to advise on or implement policies and changes within and between communities or organizations. What is the relationship to this in science? Science aims at an understanding of the social aspects of science. It comprises research about the social structure of the institutions of science and their relationships to other institutions, as well as the influence on and construction of scientific knowledge.
Good day everyone, especially to our professor, Mr. Ma Christian R. Mamuwag. I'm Efren R. Datugan Jr. I'm here in front of you to talk about social action. So social action refers to an act which takes into account the actions and reactions of individuals, also known as actors enacting social action engage that has good intention. Meaning, social action is about coming together to help improve their lives and solve the problems that are important in their communities. It can include volunteering, giving money, community action, or simply neighboring acts. Examples are the people build a dam around a village to save it from floods. This collective effort of the people is called social action. Next is a teacher teaching students in class is doing social action. The basic goal of sociological inquiry is to obtain a more clear understanding of the observable social world that we live in. One must observe phenomena in relation to specific moments in time and space to realize how they were, how they are, and how they haven't changed if they are to comprehend the various aspects of this world. Sociological inquiry procedure. Concept is the general idea of something, a theme referring all the cases of particular class or ideas, events, persons, objects, relationships, and processes. Hypothesis is a supposition or proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence, a starting point for further investigation. It is an assumption on what is to be resolved.
Hi, I'm Marife Tidoncana, so I will be discussing about gathering data. So when we say gathering data, it is known as the process of obtaining information for a certain goal. It is a procedure of collecting, measuring, and analyzing accurate insights for research using standard validated techniques. So there are some examples of how data collection methods can be used to acquire and process the data. So first, we have to conduct a survey, experimentation, and observation. So data can be classified as primary sources and secondary sources. Primary sources, it is the initial information gathering stage. So first-hand data gathered by the data researchers, interview, questionnaires, and surveys will be conducted. So secondary sources, secondary data is information that has already undergone statistical analysis and has been obtained from other sources. Analyzing data. So it is a method for gathering raw data to extract useful information that consumers may use to make decisions. So the next reporter will be discussed in analyzing data.
Analyzing data is a method for gathering raw data to extract useful information that consumers may use to make decisions.
Hi, good day. My name is Alan Jane Batistis, and my part is to report analyzing data. In analyzing data, factors such as variables have to be considered. Let us first define variable. Variable is an entity that can take different values across individuals and time. It is a symbol to which numerals or values are assigned. They are the characteristics or conditions that can be observed, manipulated, or controlled by the researcher. Variable in simple words, it is a phenomenon that the researcher are trying to measure. For example, the height, age, income, province or country, gender, health status, mood, background, grades obtained at school, and type of housing, and etc. are some examples of variables. There are 5 types of variable: the independent, dependent, moderator, control, and intervening variable. So, independent variables. The variable that is stable and unaffected by the other variables you are trying to measure. It refers to the condition of an experiment that is systematically manipulated by the investigator. So, from the word independent, it can stand alone without any help, and it cannot change by the other. It also presumed the cause. For example, these are the gender, identity, ethnicity, race, income, and education are all important subject variables that social researchers treat as independent variables. Dependent variables. The variable that depends on other factors that are measured. These variables are expected to change as a result of an experimental manipulation of the independent variable or variables. From the word dependent, it depends on the independent variables. It also presumes an effect. It is something that depends on other factors. For further understanding, we have an example here. A test score could be a dependent variable because it could change something on several factors such as how much you studied, how much sleep you got the night before you took the test, or even how hungry you were when you took it. So our dependent here is the test score, and are independent is how much you studied. Next is moderator variable. Moderator variables are third variables that affect the size or nature of the relationship between an independent and dependent variable. Because of this rule, such expressions as a specification, contingency, conditional, and qualification have been used in reference to moderator variables. A moderator is a qualitative, example sex, race, class, or quantitative level of reward variable that affects the direction and or strength of the relation between an independent or predictor variable and dependent or criterion variable. Moderator variable is that can strengthen, diminish, negate, or otherwise alter association between independent and dependent variables. Moderating variables can also change the direction of this relationship. So these are the examples of moderator variables. Moderators can be categorical variables such as ethnicity, race, religion, favorite colors, health status, or stimulus type. These categorical variables is a qualitative variable. On the other hand, there is also a quantitative variable such as age, weight, height, income, or visual stimulus size. Control variable. Enhance the internal validity of a study by limiting the influence of confounding and other extraneous variables. This helps you establish a correlational or causal relationship between your variables of interest and helps you avoid research bias. So a control variable is it held constant in research study. It is controlled because it could influence the outcomes. Generally, you control by selecting only individuals who share in common the variable you are controlling for, like gender and age. The last one is intervening variables. It is a variable that is something that impacts the relationship between an independent and a dependent variable. This intervening variable is used to explain an observed variable such as independent and dependent variables. Intervening variables are not real things. They are interpretations of observed facts, not facts themselves. That's why they are hypothetical. Introduction. An introduction summarizes all of the things you've learned from your research. It presents the background to your study, introduces your topic and aims, and gives an overview of the paper. So introduction is where you introduce what is your study all about. B. Findings. These are the answers that your research produce. This is not presentation of raw data, but a presentation of the numbers or facts determined from the analysis. If you are using a hypothesis, this is where you state whether you accept or reject that hypothesis. So finding is an outcome or results on what you have analyzed on your data. We can use graphs, tables, charts, and etc. for better interpretations for the results. Open to M. Conclusion. The conclusion is intended to help the reader understand why your research should matter to them after they have finished reading the paper. A conclusion is not merely a summary of your points or a restatement of your research problem, but a synthesis of key points. A good conclusion should restate your answer to your research question, hypothesis, or primary claim based on your findings. It should also make recommendations for further studies or changes that should be made in practice. So conclusion is a wrap up on what have you been discussing on your research paper. Verifying data. Verification is the process of checking, confirming, making sure, and being certain. In qualitative research, verification refers to the mechanisms used during the process of research to incrementally contribute to ensuring reliability and validity, and thus the rigor of a study. The use of empirical data, observation, test, or experiment is to confirm the truth or rational justification of a hypothesis. So, verifying data, it is where to verify whether your data is true or not.
I'm Zaira Anino. I'm reporting about the methodological designs, techniques, and tools used in sociological inquiry. First, case study is an investigator studies an individual or small group of individuals with unusual condition or situation. So, a case study is where sociologists investigate in a great detail a particular individual or a group, as opposed to trying to gather a representative sample from the target population. Normally, a case study will feature methodological pluralism using a range of research methods to achieve triangulation and longitudinal studies. In longitudinal studies, the researcher regularly revisiting the case over a long period of time. But in social science, triangulation is defined as mixing of data or methods so that diverse viewpoints or standpoints cast light upon a topic. There are advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of case studies include the ability to gather qualitative and quantitative data, and the comparative lack of expense compared with attempting the same research with a large sample. The disadvantages would be the inability to ensure the reliability of the data and the extent to which it could be generalizable. Next is the survey research. This design involves interviewing or administering questionnaires or written surveys to large numbers of people. The investigator analyzes the data obtained from the surveys to learn about similarities, differences, and trends. As with most research methods, survey research brings both advantages and disadvantages. Advantages include obtaining information from a large number of respondents, conducting personal interviews at the time convenient for respondents, and acquiring data as expensively as possible. So the disadvantages of survey research include volunteer bias, interviewer bias, and distortion. Social researchers design surveys to reach a specific group of people, such as college students, product consumers, or service users. As it's almost impossible to survey every individual in the target group, most researchers choose to survey a small subset of the population called a sample. They then use this sample to represent the total population. The representative nature of sample can have a huge influence on the success of a survey. There are two primary methods of data collection in surveys, which are the interview and questionnaires. Next, observational research involves directly observing subjects' reactions, either in a laboratory, called laboratory observation, or in a natural setting called naturalistic observation. Observational research is a research technique where you observe participants and phenomena in their most natural settings. This enables researchers to see their subjects make choices and react to situations in their natural setting, as opposed to structured settings like research labs or focus groups. Observation refers to a method in which researchers study the ongoing behavior of their participants or subjects. This is different from techniques such as interviews or questionnaires because observations are study of what subjects to do instead of what they say. The possibility that subjects will not give totally honest accounts of the experiences, not to take the study seriously, and fail to remember or feel embarrassed
Observational research has limitations. However, subject bias is common because volunteer subjects may not be representative of the general public. They may also function differently in a laboratory setting than they do in other settings. Next, to be continued by Lovely Daginod.
Correlational research. A correlation is a relationship between two variables or factors that change. These factors can be characteristics, attitude, behavior, or events. Correlational research attempts to determine if a relationship exists between the two variables and the degree of that relationship. As social researchers can be use case studies, surveys, interviews, and observational research to discover correlations. Correlations are either positive or negative or non-existent. In a positive correlation, the values of the one variables increase or decrease together. In a negative correlation, one variable increases as the other decreases. In non-existent correlations, no relationship exists between the variables. Experimental research attempts to determine how and why something happens. Experimental research tests the way in which independent variable that the factors the scientist manipulates affects the dependent variables, the factors that the scientist observe. A number of factors can affect the outcome of any type of experimental research. One is finding samples that are random or representative of the population being studied. Another experimenter bias is which a researcher's expectation about what should or what should not happen and study sway the result. Still, it's another controlling for extraneous variables such as room temperature or noise level. The may interface with the result of the experiment. Only when the experimenter carefully controls for extraneous variables can he or she draw valid conclusion about the effects of specific variables on another variables. Cross-cultural research. Sensitivity to other norms, folkways, values, or mores, attitudes, customs, and practices necessitate knowledge of other societies and culture. Sociologists may conduct cross-cultural research or research designed to reveal variation across different groups of people. Most cross-cultural research involves survey, direct observation, and participant observation methods of research. Participant observation requires that an observer become a member of his own subject community. An advantage of this method of research is opportunity it provides to study what actually occurs within a community and then consider that information provides to study what the political, economics, social and religious system of that community. Cross-cultural research demonstrate that Western cultural standards do not necessarily apply to other societies. What may be normal or acceptable for one group may be abnormal or acceptable for another. Research with existing data or secondary analysis.
Good day, everyone. I am Harnis Galisa, and I will be the one who's going to discuss the methodological tools used in sociological inquiry. So first is questionnaire. Questionnaires is a list of questions to be answered by the participant and is a tool used to collect data in the form of a list of questions that is written in format. So basically, questionnaires are used in acquiring information, and it can be distributed in two different ways. First, it can be distributed online, like social medias and social websites. Second, it can be distributed offline, just like face-to-face. However, questionnaires also have their disadvantages. For example, researchers or the sociologists only got a low response rate because only a small percentage of questionnaires were returned. And the reason why is because the researchers or the sociologists made their questionnaires complicated. Complicated to the point where the participants or the respondents have confusion to the questionnaires that are given to them. So researchers need to be more careful when designing or making their questionnaires. So the second is the observations. Observation. Sociologists often collect data about society through observation. A sociologist might observe the everyday life of a group of people. So observations are when the sociologists observe the behaviors of a group or individuals in order to witness their social behaviors. So observation can be also conducted in two different ways. First, it can be conducted overtly. So overtly is where the members of the group being observed are aware of the sociologist's presence. So that is overtly. And the other is covertly. Covertly is where the members of the group have no knowledge that they are being observed. Like they really had no idea that they are being observed. So that is covertly. However, observations also have their disadvantages. And that is, this tool can be more time consuming, as the sociologists may need to conduct observation over a long period of time. So next is the experiments. Experiments are used to collect specific information in a strategic way. Sociologists perform experiments to answer questions or study people's responses. So experiments are studying people by controlling the variables and aims to test a hypothesis by identifying the cause and effects, which is the independent variables and the dependent variables. In addition, experiments usually involves in an experimental group and control group. So to make it short, experimental groups are exposed to something new while the control group is not. For example, a sociologist could conduct an experiment about the effects of pre-bedtime online gaming on sleep quality in teenagers. One group would play online games before bed and other would not. So that is one of the examples of sociological experiments. Sociological experiments can help determine solutions for problems. And that is all for my part. And the next reporter is Leah Aktub.
Interview: a discussion or conversation between a potential employer and a candidate. It is a selection process designed that helps an employer understand the skills, scrutinize their personality and character traits, and check the domain knowledge. So, interviews are widely used tool to access people's experiences and their inner perceptions, attitudes, and feelings of reality. On the basis of the degree of structuring, interviews can be divided into two categories: structured interviews and unstructured interviews. Structured interviews, where the interviewer uses a standard set of questions that they ask each job candidate who's vying for position. So, daghan siya ways in which you can conduct structured interviews. For example, you can conduct them over the phone, face-to-face, and on the internet using computer programs. In short, they don't really improvise or go off script based on how the conversation is going. Second is the unstructured interviews, also called non-directive interview, refers to an interview concept without any set of format, which questions are non-predetermined, so the lack of structure enables the interviewer to ask questions which come to his or her mind on the spot. So this is a more like free-flowing conversation. So, kining unstructured interviews, mao ni mag-allow interviewers to understand candidates on a deeper level, which helps in assessing behavioral portions of the interview process. So, in other way, this type of interview process resembles an open-minded, informal, friendly conversation. There are also methodological techniques used in the sociological inquiry, and these are the following: qualitative technique and quantitative technique. So for the quantitative technique is an extremely informative source of data collection conducted via mediums such as surveys, polls, and questionnaires. So this is also used to evaluate investment. In such a way, organizations can determine the best asset to invest in and the best time to do so. Some of the quantitative technique includes regression analysis, linear programming, and data mining. They act as supplement to help decision makers in making the proper judgment. These are powerful business tools that allow managers to optimize outcomes with limited resources. Second is the qualitative technique. Is defined as a method to collect data via open-ended and conversational discussion. So this involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data to understand concept, opinions, or experiences. It can be used to gather in-depth insight into a problem or generate new ideas for research. And that is all for this discussion. Thank you for listening.